Welcome back to another reaction for Jaadugar episode 9.
私はおごたい様とあなた様に希望を見ました。お二人の賢明さこそこの世界を滑るにふさわしいと。
そう思うか。
もちろんです。
そう緊張するなドレゲ
ネ。
お前に話したいことがある。
Okay. So this is essentially the siege. Okay. We have our soldiers? Or is that the enemy? Again, river.
大官、吉報です。トルイ様が韓国を渡りました。敵は大慌てで南へ向かっている模様。
トルイ、やってくれたね。それじゃあ、俺たちも行こうか。この川の向こうへ。
So I guess these are the enemies, and because Tului made his way around, they are now retreating because it would be a two-front war, and this allows us to go over as well. Okay, so that was the idea. Because in the end, the main point was to push everyone into the city, into the fortification, and let them slowly but surely deplete their resources.
兄上が甲賀を渡ったか。
はい、大官の援軍がこちらへ向かっています。合流しましょ
う。合流か。いい場所はあるか。
三宝山がよろしいかと。
Episode 9, Tangri. So, Agadai Army, Yellow River. Because the plans I had, it looked like the army of the Khan would stay across the river. But no, they are crossing the river. We are on the same side. We can siege Kaifeng. Now, if we want to retreat, we have to go over the river, which is not ideal. Granted, is that a bridge? Is that a real bridge? Is that a crossing? Maybe it's a somewhat lower. It's less water over there. Maybe. Seemingly there's some kind of crossing, but still, in a situation where we need to retreat, this could get dicey. However, it is the Mongol army. They probably don't expect they need to retreat. They expect they are going to win, and so we don't need a plan B.
金国の都、海方から約130キロ。三宝山という丘のふもとにトルイ軍は陣を敷き、援軍の到着を待った。
Awaits the arrival of a reinforcement. Now, with everything we have seen and heard, it's like, what if no one comes though? What if this is the perfect time to push him down? Because it feels like they're going to betray him or try to destabilize the Tului name.
軍は陣を敷き、援軍の到着を待った。対する金国軍は睨み合う姿勢を見せたが、
今すぐ攻勢に出ろとおっしゃるか。兵たちは疲れ切っているのに。
それは敵も同じでしょう。敵の主力部隊が都に向かっているんですよ。さっさと片付けてください。
いかがします。仕方ない。幸い数ではこちらが有利だ。奴らを包囲しろ。
Okay.
完全に囲まれたな。
15万もいるそうですよ、敵軍。
味方は
4万弱かと。
Okay, to be honest, I assumed they would be 20% stronger, maybe 30, around that. But they're nearly 4 times as much. Yeah. It could be that like communication is breaking down, and that is why reinforcements are not coming. Because if the Kaan troops are not coming, if they come, they can easily break the encirclement. But if they don't, then yeah, this is not going to end well. And technically, they can't really. They have to help, because they can't afford to lose 40,000 soldiers. Right? That's a huge blow to any army at the time. So losing all of these is not something they would want to happen. I feel like they have to help.
いやいや、大韓の援軍が間に合わなかったらさすがにやばいですって。
間に合うんだから心配ない。よし、では運命を天狗に尋ねるのはどうだ？
はい。
俺の兵でジャダミシができるものを探せ。
ジャダミシって嵐を呼ぶんですよね。トルイ様は何をする気なんでしょう。
Okay, so we see the ritual. This doesn't seem to be the stone that she was looking for. No.
これは雪だ。風も出てきた。
天狗よ、我らの願いを叶えてくれるか。皆聞け！今すぐ塹壕を掘れ！嵐が来る前に人も馬も隠れろ！馬には覆いをかけて人もできるだけ着込むんだ！
嵐は山中や続き、2つの軍の命運を分けた。
This is their home, right? Shouldn't they know this could happen? I mean, sure, we can accept some kind of magic or mythology. That's fine. I mean, it could just be a coincidence. It could also be that these rituals take so long that at some point they become reality anyway, because they're going on for weeks. But I would have assumed that the Jin army would make their own shelter, because they probably saw that it is starting to snow and they were like, yeah, it's going to get cold. And either we start attacking now, which they could have done because the enemy was... they were busy doing their encampment. So that would have been a perfect time to attack. or they should have done the same as well. So a little bit surprising. However, essentially the weather won, and the Mongol army was prepared. The Jin army was not. So I assume the Jin army is gone, or at least destroyed or decimated enough for the Mongol army to just run over them.
そして4日目、功を焦り寒さと疲れにさらされ続けた15万の金国軍はモンゴル軍の攻撃になすすべなく壊滅した。
Which is another point for Tului. Again, not ideal. Where are the reinforcements, by the way? They should have been here in a couple of days. Yeah. If there are reinforcements on the way, guess where they're coming from. You should also not forget Tului, as far as we know, he doesn't want the top. He's fine with what he has. He's fine helping his brother. He's fine doing all of this stuff. It's fine for him. But naturally, other people are going to be looking at it in a different way.
俺は良い弟を持って幸せだ。
どうしました、将軍。
昔を思い出していた。チンギスカンがまだ草原の長たちと争っていた頃、敵がジャダミシを使ったことがあった。しかし嵐はチンギスカンではなく敵軍の上に降りかかった。トルイ様を見ているとまるで
将軍、よしましょう、そんな話。
忘れてくれ。
That is the problem. Tului, he's fine. The rest of the people, they have some ambitions, which not ideal because the time of Genghis Khan is over. What he was able to accomplish, it is going to be hard to replicate. It is now the time to consolidate the power, which Ugadai is just better at. He has the better ideas, and it takes a great man like Tului to accept that instead of trying to go back into the past, essentially. Trying to replicate Genghis Khan.
金国の都海邦の攻略は縮小たちに委ねられた。それで十分だった。
I mean, the army's gone, the city is capital, whatever. Doesn't really have had much defense. The best they could do is probably surrender. And even then, it's similar to like the beginning with Persia, where all the men lost in the fight against the Mongols, and they were just able to raise the city.
より2年後、金国はその歴史に幕を下ろす。
Is the Jin dynasty not coming back at some point? Not sure about Chinese history. It's just like it's coming back, it splinters and names come back, names disappear.
巻き狩りは大成功だったわけだなあブラルダイ
おたいです父上
What?
なあブラルダイ
おたいです父上
How do you not know your son's name?
で結局俺は損しなかったが一番の得もしていない一番の得はどっちだった
I mean, Tolui, clearly. Because he is the one that defeated like a insanely big army. He's probably seen as a master strategist. We didn't really see what they were talking about in their little conversation.
大勝利おめでとうございます
I do like we have like a neutral on the left side. Some people are happy. On the right side, someone is very
会い
unhappy.
ます
ボラクチン元気そうでよかったあなたにはお土産があるそのうち届くから楽しみにしててね
宴の支度ができていますどうぞこちらへ
ねえ大官お土産って何私にもある
もちろん
なんだろ
楽しみにしておいで
シロ
よ久しぶり
どうしてここに
しばらくトルイ様のそばにいろってそれ
Mm.
を二人様が
アリュエ次はどこを攻めますまずは都を作りたいかな
Mm.
ファーティマ、
はいドレゲネ様
今日はもう下がっていいわ。私の天幕にも来ないでちょうだい。
Mm. Okay. I guess she wants to somehow get Ugadai in her tent for some reason. It has to be. It has to do. It has something to do with what the Empress was saying, right? They had a conversation. I assumed it would be her uncovering more or less that our team tries to destroy the Mongol Empire. Maybe it is the idea that she is too sick. She's not healthy enough to engage with Ugadai and get more children. And maybe she is like, hey, you need to do more.
ドレゲネ様最近あまり話をしなくなったなんだか私を避けてるみたい天幕にも来るななんてあ大官
オゴタイとトルイがそれぞれの属領へ帰還する。
Maybe our girl is assuming that that she succumbed to Ugadai, maybe, and is not on her side anymore. Maybe it's her enemy.
その最中、
大官大官止まれ
Ooh,
大官大丈夫ですか
poison.
大官誰か医者を呼べしっかり
皇帝オゴタイは急な病に倒れた。
大官きっと遠征でお疲れなのでしょう大丈夫ですよ何かしら嫌な予感が
Okay, let's try to think. Let's say we poisoned him. Okay, so he dies. Let's say that. Would that help us against the Mongol Empire? Not really. Because Tului is definitely going to be the next Khan. Is it? Would it go to the next in line, the son of Ugadai? Or maybe even daughter? Or could Tolui? Because I feel like a lot of people would want to push Tolui. On the other hand, we could blame the poisoning on Tolui. Yeah. Now that I think about it, that is a far better idea. Blame it on their camp. We're going to have a strife because then the third brother, I totally forgot about him, is more or less going to stand with the Great Khan, I feel like. Because this is like an underhanded method, which probably is not going over well. And then we have like a big rift. That is what we want to achieve, right?
何かが変な気がする。奴隷ちゃん、ちょっと来て。大官は毒を盛られた。毒？今度は私の思い込みじゃないよ。ボラクチンが言ったんだもの。奴隷ちゃん、あなたはボラクチンを助けてくれた。だから疑いたくない。どういう意味ですか？大官の症状、ボラクチンと一緒だった。鉱山の誇りの毒だ。そしてボラクチンが持ってた鉱山の誇りがなくなってたんだ。
Okay.
あれがあそこにあるってこと知ってる人は少ないよ。モゲ様、誓って私はこの件何も存じません。決して大官のお命を狙って。よかった、あなたじゃないね。
It is the least likely that she is. I mean, she's not even close to the Great Khan in any way. She probably has not even met him the past couple weeks. The main part for me is maybe Borachin trying to poison the Khan? I don't know why. Because our girl has a reason, her mistress has a reason, but why would the Empress want to poison him? Because it seems like again, she had a conversation with our mistress, and it seems like she was able to see through her and see that she wants revenge, and maybe she tried to help her get the revenge. But why would Borachin want to do that? Otherwise, I could also see our mistress being like, hey, there's this elixir of immortality, essentially, and you need to take this for that, but probably not as potent in the terms of poisoning. I feel like Borachin is involved. Why, I don't know.
いいよ、聞いたってわかんないし。でもね、私頭は悪いけど、嘘ついてるかどうかはなんとなくわかるんだ。迷子だな。あ、今本当かって思ったな。でもあなたじゃないとすると、ドレゲネってことになるな。奴隷ちゃん、ドレゲネが鉱山の誇りを持ってた。今は取り調べのために拘束されてるって。ドレゲネ様、嘘。どうして？何かの罠でね。奴隷ちゃん、あなたに頼みがあるんだ。
I don't, this went from pretty straightforward to super complicated. What is happening? We had this conversation. She decided to poison him, which doesn't really make sense because she could just ask our girl to do that, which would be a lot easier to get revenge for on. But she also was more distant, so she knew she would be caught, or the chance was very high. Now, again, I'm assuming it is because of Barachin. She is the one to do all of this or command all of this. Why, I don't know again. Or Toragene did this in the hopes that our girl, because she is pretty smart in all of this, then maybe she was hoping our girl finds out the reasoning and does the right thing.
Borakchin様の天幕入って失礼します。
ファーティマ、よく来てくれた。お前を呼んだのは他でもない。大官を助けてほしいのだ。
お医者様は何と？
医者はドレゲネが接近したかもしれなくてな。今は誰を信頼してよいかもわからないのだ。
So we trust a random slave girl. Got it.
助けてくれ。頼む。
Again, what is the benefit of killing him? Because she is now in a position where she could give him the antidote, or she could poison him more and more or less take his life. Because I don't really see a reason for Borochin to assassinate the guy here. And it seems like she's the one that orchestrated everything. Is this a test? Was this a test where she told Tarugane to do this because Tarugane swore that Fatima is on their side, is for the Mongol Empire, and this is a big test. You poison the Emperor, which would be crazy test. It would be insane as a test, but sure. And they now see if Fatima is going to make an antidote to heal him, or potentially some kind of poison to kill him. And that is going to, if she does an antidote, they are going to be like, okay, Torugene is innocent, is on our side, and Fatima as well. It would be crazy. It would be a crazy idea.
確かにこの症状は以前のボラクチン様と同じ鉱山の誇りの毒で間違いないようです。もう半分以上使ってしまった。私があなた様の新たな邪大師となりましょう。ボラクチン様、一つ伺ってもよろしいですか？
なんだ？
ドレゲネ様はどうして大官に毒など。
そうか、ドレゲネはお前の主人だったな。さぞ驚いていることだろう。だがあの女は愚かだ。あれは以前から大官への恨みを公然と口にしていた。そこにお前という知恵を得てこの強行に及んだのだろう。きっと最後にはお前に全ての罪を着せ逃げるつもりだったのだ。
But she didn't. That's the problem. She tried to distance herself from us.
まさかありえません。
なぜそう言える？
だってあの方は私に何でもお話しくださいました。あの方がずっと胸の内に抱いていること、かつて愛していた人たちのことも、抱え続ける怒りも。
本当にそうかな？
Hope you all lies.
お前はソルコクタニのところからやってきた。 そんな素性のお前をやすやすと信用するほどドレゲネはお人よしではない。思い出してみなさい。あの女、怪しいところもあったのでは。
To be honest, I never thought of that she may have just lied and just have had played this character. It still wouldn't make sense to keep Fatima away though, because if she wanted to push everything on her, it would have been smarter to keep her close.
ないか。
トレゲネ様、まさか。ボラクチン様、この石を砕いて毎日大カーンに飲ませてください。もし足りなかったら別の邪大石を探してください。できればこれと同じ色合いの石を。
ああ、礼を言うぞ。
兄上が倒れた？それで病状は治るんだろうな。
何の病気かは分かりませんでしたが、東西の医者を集めて治療しているそうです。すでに回復の兆しもあるとか。
そうか。
ボラクチン大カトゥンはカムを呼んで祈祷をするそうで、トルイ様にも立ち会っていただきたいと。
分かった、すぐ行こう。
待ってトルイ。
すぐ行こう。すぐ行こう。
待ってトルイ。
ソルコクタに。
なんだか引っかかるわ。急な病なんて。シラ、ファーティマはなんて。
それが
外国の医者に頼ってばかりではよく思わない人も多い。
Right. I paused a second ago because in the end, it doesn't really matter what happens to Torregene. It doesn't really matter what is happening here, because if Fatima succeeds in breaking apart the Mongol Empire, she's going to fulfill the goal of Torregene as well. As long as one of those two is succeeding, the other one's goal is achieved. So maybe it's not a bad idea to split up a little bit and try to tackle the issue on multiple sides, multiple fronts.
だからモンゴルの伝統にのっとって祈祷もしておきたい。そういうことだそうよ。
なるほどな。
ソルコクタニ様に伝えて。
お、
ご安心ください。ボラクチン様は聡明で信頼できるお方ですわ。
Are we trying to join Borachin now? He has the most influence.
確かにボラクチンカトゥーンは聡明な方だと聞くわ。
心配しすぎだ、ソルコクタに。祈祷だぞ。初めから疑ってどうする。兄上は戦でも天狗が味方したお方。今度もきっと天狗がお守りくださるさ。
I'm really curious what is going to happen now. There seems to be a lot of stuff going on.
それもそうね。ファーティムが言うのだから信じましょう。
Again, there's so much. It feels like there are a bunch of intrigues going on at the same time. And we know that Fatima is.
大カーンがご病気だって。誰かの呪詛って噂もあるらしい。
呪詛だなんて軽々しく言うんじゃないよ。トレゲネ様、もう一度会って話したい。この騒ぎの中ならなんとかなるかしら。
I feel like people are waiting for this.
器の水に悪霊たちを封じました。守護霊たちが申すには、病人を助けるために身代わりが必要です。誰かこの水を飲み干してください。
トゥルイ。
私が飲もう。どうせ
Rising.
老いた身だ。
お待ちください。身代わりは血縁の方がいいでしょう。
何？
つまり大カーンのお子様かお孫様か、あるいはご兄弟。
なら俺だな。
That is what I mean. This feels like a trap. This whole thing feels like a trap. She is offering herself. The shamans are like, no, it should be someone close. It's now going to be Tului, so yeah, they could poison the water with the same poison, and then have him to come to it, and therefore the Tului clan is going to lose a lot of power because they are losing their most important character, and I don't know. I have no idea what is a ploy and what is just coincidence at this point. Now that I think about it, because if this is from Borachin, she knows the poisoning. She had the poisoning happening to her. Is this whole thing from the very beginning planned? She poisoned herself to see how the poison acts, how it is done. Then she tries to find a cure, and Fatima delivered one. Got cured. Then she poisoned her husband in the same way, to then cure him with Fatima's help, but the poisoning is going to make this exorcism happening, which seemingly is always going to happen, because we can't trust the physicians of the West or East. Which in point, this water bowl has to always be consumed by worthy sacrifice. Or maybe the exorcists are also under Borachin's command, which allows her to poison the water bowl with the Algair or whatever. So he's now going to be poisoned by that. He's going to get the symptoms. The Kaan is going to recover because we already gave him the antidote with the Jaadugar stone. But he's not going to get antidote because we are not going to send Fatima to him. Is that because then it would mean Borachin plans this from the very beginning, which would be insane. So alone, the idea poisoning the Mongol emperor or whatever his title Kaan, poisoning him for this ploy is insane. Now, granted, she could be like, I did it for you. I'm old. I'm super old, so you can execute me. It doesn't really matter. The future of the Mongol Empire is secured because she is similar to Ödegai, very future-oriented. But it would be insane. It would be an insane ploy.
Tengriよ。もし罪によって兄上の魂を連れ去ったのなら、あなたはもっと罪深い魂をご存知のはず。兄上より多くの敵を殺し、多くのものを俺は奪った。いや待てよ。テングリが才能を見込んでおそばに召したとも考えられるか。ま、その場合でも俺ですね。
I mean, This is clearly Borachin, right? Turrigan is the perfect character for the poisoning as well. Because of the open hostility. Man, this is an insane ploy. Holy shit. I mean, it's clearly won. We saw the grin. There's someone is clearly wanted this to happen. That is insane. That is so. We saw Borachin talk to Turrigan. They were talking about something. At that point, Turrigan was keeping Fatima away. Not as close anymore. She decided to poison the Emperor, the Khan. I don't really know if he would be an Emperor or whatever, but the Khan. The Khan fell ill. Fatima then gave the cure, which is the rest of the Jadal stone. So they were able to cure the Khan. The Khan is theoretically just going to get better. He's going to get better. We just need to wait. But they also, in part to the healing process, they are doing an exorcism. Now the exorcist say, okay, we have taken the spirit, the bad spirit, the illness, and captured it into the water, but someone else needs to take it in. So it is going to go away from the Khan. Borachin offering herself because she's old. And the exorcist surprisingly says it should be someone of the family of the Khan, a son, grandchild, or a brother. Tuli naturally goes and does it. And I'm assuming the water is poisoned as well with the alga or whatever it is. Because now we don't have the Jada stone anymore. Jada stone is gone. We would need a new one in the same color and stuff. Not any old Jada stone is going to have the ability to detoxify him. We also are not going to let Fatima go to the Tuli clan. And again, with how this is structured, it feels like Borachin is the one who initiated this whole ploy. She's the one that tested the poison first. She is the one that got an antidote. She is the one that talked to Turrigan, which then prompted her to do the poisoning. She needed to get the alga here, which was Borachin, so it is probably hard to get it without her knowing. So that is already like a red flag. And then we got to this situation after everything happened. This is an insane ploy. Not only is it a long time ago, I mean, this is like, if I'm not wrong, like half a year, maybe even a year of planning to do this. Then we are poisoning the Great Khan, which is insane. Imagine someone poisoning like the Emperor or the President for something like this. That's crazy. I'm also assuming that if this succeeds, that Borachin could get executed, or Turrigan is the one that takes the blame, which is fair. And this, it does make sense because again, Odegai is very future oriented. That is why he wants to make the capital. He wants to consolidate the power of the Mongol Empire. The Mongols have a lot of land and their trade routes are very secure. So if they make a capital that is going to be very profitable, it is going to be a massive trade city. And the Mongol Empire could be like a superpower economically and probably also diplomatically, because then you have a lot of diplomatic power over the neighboring countries because you can decide who is allowed to trade and who is not. as example. And the same we heard Borachin is the same. She's also looking into the future. And with Tolui being so powerful, having all of the best people in their land, and now having the win over a 4 times bigger army under their belt, it just makes sense to do something so that the Mongol Empire stays together and is not going to rupture with like a civil war between the Great Khan and Tolui. But it's such an insane plan. I hope next episode we get a little bit of an insight, what really happened, what they were talking about, Turagani and Borachin, and if this idea is correct, which again, insane.